Today I'm making one of my favorite chicken recipes, bourbon pineapple chicken, and we're going to make it on this Pit Boss Pellet Grill. This is one of my go-to recipes. We're having some people over and I don't know what they like. This is always a crowd favorite. Let's get started. I've got 6 chicken thighs here, and I just want to pat them down with paper towels to dry off the skin. Here I've got some duck fat that I'm using as a binder. I like to use duck fat because it really helps crisp up the skin. Now if you don't have this, you can use olive oil, but me personally, I prefer the duck fat. And for my seasoning, I'm going to use this Championship Boar's Night Out White Lightning. Now this is a general purpose rub, salt, pepper. Well, I can't even get it open. There we go. Salt, pepper, garlic. If you don't have this, just use some salt, pepper. You can even sprinkle on some dried powdered garlic or use your favorite all-purpose rub. Okay. So I'm just going to get all these guys seasoned up. I'm going to flip them over, spray the backside, season it, and we'll work our way over to this Pit Boss. I was getting ahead of myself there. Before we get to this Pit Boss, what I've got here are some red pepper flakes. Got about a tablespoon. I didn't actually measure it. I'm telling you it's approximately a tablespoon. You could leave this out if you don't want this step. Red pepper flakes aren't very hot, but anyway, I like to use these red pepper flakes. You could put a little chipotle powder on here if you wanted. You know, it just gives a little bit of spice. Let me turn them over, get this other side, and then for real, after I get this done, we will actually make our way over to that Pit Boss. I got this Pit Boss set on a smoke setting where it runs about 180. We're going to let it go there for about 30-40 minutes. You can see it does a nice job of smoking at that low temperature. This Pit Boss does. You know, if you're using your Masterbuilt or your gas grill, just try to dial that temperature into 200, 225, somewhere in there, just so you can get some nice smoke on this. You spend an hour of cook time, and I'm just going to turn these chicken thighs over. Now what I did was after 30 minutes, I turned the temp up from the smoke setting, which was running at 180. I turned it up to 250. Now I'm cranking the temperature up to 300 degrees to finish the cook. To start this glaze out, what I've got here, 6 ounces pineapple juice. I don't know how much bourbon I got left in here. I'm hoping I got close to 6 ounces more. And look at that. Can you see that? We're just under the 12 ounce. I'm looking for an equal pineapple bourbon mixture. Got this burner on medium heat. Just turned it on. What I've got here is some garlic paste. Let me get that in here. What I've got here, brown mustard. Let's get that in. Here we got 1/8 of a cup of brown sugar. Get that in. Got some Worcestershire sauce. Let's get that in. Here I've got the sweet chili sauce. All right. Now, you probably already got the rest of this figured out. Just gonna, you can see it starting to bubble here on the side. We're gonna bring this up to a nice simmer. Let this thicken up some. Now, I've got one other thing I want to put in here. Pick your favorite. I'm using this Tennessee Whiskey Sweet and Mild Barbecue Sauce. Now what you want here is about 1, 2, 3 tablespoons. Hey, use your favorite barbecue sauce. This is a great one, by the way, but if you don't have it, you don't need to go buy it just for this recipe, but it works with it quite well. What you don't want to do is don't use something like a mustard barbecue sauce. We already put the mustard in here. you know, use like a Kansas City style, a sweet one. It can be a little spicy if you want to add spice to it. Anyway, you can see it's come up to a boil already. We're just going to adjust the heat a little bit. Simmer this, I don't know, 10-15 minutes and let it thicken up. It's been another 20 minutes. Chicken's starting to look pretty good, isn't it? You can feel the skin is crisping up at this higher temperature. Now what we're going to do, glaze it up with that sauce that we just made. Got the top of this last one glazed up. Now I'm just going to do this side. I'm not going to do both sides. If you want to glaze both sides, you certainly can. You'll need to about double that recipe that I just did for the 6 chicken thighs. Now, the next step is totally optional. This will just add a little sweetness. I'm adding a little spicy honey. You don't have to add spicy honey if you don't want, right? You can just add regular old honey. Or like I said, you can omit this step. But it's just like the finishing touches on this chicken. We're going to let it go maybe 10 more minutes. Check the temp. I believe it'll be close to getting off of there. It's been 15 more minutes. At 7 minutes, I moved them down a little bit. This is where my heat is, just so they can get a little bit more heat on them. They're looking good, right? We're going to get them off here. I'm sorry, the sun is in a horrible angle, I know. But we're going to get them all off. We're going to let them rest about 10-15 minutes and then give them a try. It's been 10 minutes, and that's taste test time, right? Let me get a fork here. Got my knife. Yeah, that's kind of nice, actually. All right. We're going to cut a piece off so you can see it. All right, look at that. I don't know, the sun is coming over this angle. I don't know how well that shows up, but we got some juiciness in there. Skin doesn't seem to be too bad. Let me cut that in half. That's too big of a bite. Well, I guess I can't cut. I don't know, is it my knife or the skin? I think it was my knife. All right. There you go. Can you see that? Hopefully, let me block it. I hope you can see that. All right. Let's give this a try. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I've made this recipe many times and variations of it. If you watch my channel and you want to pick a recipe to make for chicken, this is a glaze I would encourage you to make. Every time I make it, it's the same. I love it. I love the combination of pineapple and bourbon. If you don't want to use bourbon, my suggestion is use apple juice. If you use the apple juice, it's a little bit sweeter. You may not want to put the honey at the end like I did. The other thing you can do is if you don't want to use the bourbon, you want to use apple juice, maybe put in like a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract also. That's a good substitute for bourbon. Now, what's it taste like? Wow, it's really juicy. I hope you can see that. I get the smoke, and you know, some people on these pellet grills, they don't get much smoke. That's why I cook the first part down there at that low temp, 180. You'll get a lot more smoke. So I do get the nice smoke flavor. I do get a little bit of that red pepper, and that I use the habanero honey. Obviously you get the pineapple sweetness, and the bourbon contributes to the sweetness. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorites. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe if you're not a subscriber already.